What's up, people? Welcome back to Invest with T-Claus. My name is Tevi, and this channel is dedicated to my investment journey, along with coverage on crypto, Tesla, Neo, Virgin Galactic, and ChargePoint. Come for the information and stay for the perspective. So earlier this week, on Wednesday, December 6th, ChargePoint held its earnings call. The results were in line with the revised guidance they communicated in November, which is good and bad. It essentially means that the revenue growth has indeed slowed, but on the bright side, it did fall within the expected lower range ChargePoint had communicated. Since I last covered the stock, it went on to crash even further to a new all-time low of $1.79 before recovering to the $2.35, which is where it closed this week. Now, that's nearly a 24% jump total from the all-time low. A big portion of that recovery took place post-earnings call, with ChargePoint posting a weekly gain of 16.34%. This then raises the question, is the worst over for ChargePoint? So in today's video, I'll go over the main takeaway from the earnings call, then take a look at the analyst re-ratings that took place, and close with what I'm personally doing as far as buying, holding, or selling. As always, this is not to be taken as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is my personal approach to investing and the thought process behind it. I'd recommend watching all the way through so that you don't miss out on any pertinent information I'll be sharing. Drop the video an early like if you haven't already, and hit that subscribe button. Those are two easy ways to show your support to the channel and help it grow if you appreciate the content. All right, let's get into it. This was the first call that newly appointed CEO Rick Wilmer and interim CFO Mansi Kitani were on. Both are internal leaders with the company and come with a significant amount of industry experience, as you can see here. It was apparent that this call was very much about putting investors' worries at ease by showcasing that experience, highlighting some recent accomplishments, and providing affirmation that they were committed to turning this around, right? So let's take a look at the actual financial results. This graph does a good job at summarizing it all. Total revenue came in at $110.3 million, down 12% year over year, but right in the middle of the revised guidance of $108 million to $113 million. Total revenue is made up of three streams: network charging systems, which is hardware sales, that dropped by 24.3% year over year. Meanwhile, subscription revenues saw a massive increase of 41% on a year over year basis. Now, while revenue decreased on a year over year basis, expenses, you can see, grew also on a year over year basis, with R&D, general, and administrative seeing the biggest increase. And if you think about it, that actually makes sense. If you consider the need to adapt their hardware to now be directly compatible with the Tesla NACS standard versus just using an adapter, and the inefficiencies with inventory as well as staffing that ChargePoint has committed to remediating on a go-forward basis. In the end, they took a loss of $158.2 million, which represents a massive 87.3% increase on a year-over-year basis. This translates to a worse than expected earnings per share, coming in at a loss of 28 cents versus the expected 22 cents. At this point, you're probably wondering, if the results were this poor, why did the stock gain just over 16% this week? Because frankly, it sounds counterintuitive, right? Well, the answer is forward guidance. Now, despite the fact that management was not willing to provide an expected range for revenue and expenses for this coming quarter, mainly because both Rick and Mansi just took over and simply haven't had the time to fully review what is actually feasible, they were, however, willing to communicate that we should see an improvement this coming quarter. This is in big thanks to the changing in staffing and inventory management improvements that are expected as the late customers' orders get fulfilled. So that's good. They also gave assurance that formal guidance for the coming year would be provided at the next earnings call. But most importantly, they reiterated the commitment to reach positive non-GAAP adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization by Q4 of 2024. That's a fancy way of saying that they still intend to be cash flow positive by then. The caveat to be aware of is that they could still reach this goal, but the true bottom line, post-interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, could still not be fully profitable, right? So basically, to summarize this, achieving this forward guidance means that they have truly turned the business around. Positive growth has returned, and EV sales are once again on the rise. And from that standpoint, that is something investors should be excited about. And that in itself is precisely why many investors clearly liked the messaging and voted with their wallets. Now, looking at analysts post-earnings still shows cautiously optimistic recommendations. The overall consensus rating remains a moderate buy with 6 buy ratings instead of 8, 12 hold ratings instead of 9, and still no sell ratings to highlight, which again is good. The high end of the range dropped from $17 to now $10. Meanwhile, the low end remains unchanged at $2. Now, the average consensus price target dropped from $5.98 to now $3.83. Even so, this implies a 62.98% increase from the current level and just over 4 times the returns when we hit the top end of the current range. For context, this still represents better than expected returns than if you were investing at the index level over the next year. Granted, there is significantly more risk to account for, so again, buyers beware. Which now brings us to, what does this mean specifically for me, right? Am I buying, holding, or selling? That's always the big question. My view on ChargePoint remains the same. This is a company I believe is critical to supporting the EV transition. Despite the significant share price drop over the last 3 years, they have continued to expand and grow their business. And I will say that we are nearing an inflection point in EV adoption and soon to see an acceleration. Now, macroeconomics should improve a decent amount next year, which should only serve to help the situation for ChargePoint. With that in mind, my target remains the same, and that is reaching a minimum goal of 1,000 shares. And so to answer the question, I personally bought another 100 shares at $2. This brings my cost basis down to $2.86 and raises my total share count to now 500 shares. The last thing I will say is this. ChargePoint has once again stated that they are sufficiently funded to reach their goal, right? Meaning that there should be no reason to issue more stocks or raise debt over the coming year. This then means that investors do not have to worry about dilution or a company going bankrupt over the coming year. So really, should ChargePoint deliver on a promise to turn it around and reach profitability in what should be a better macro environment next year, this would have been the bottom and the lowest entry point to date since the company went public 3 years ago, right? I clearly believe that that's where we're heading, and so to me, buying within my means is still the right answer. But on that note, that is it for me today. We're fast approaching the 1,000 subscriber goal. Thank you. If you found value in my content, click that like button and share with others who you think could also benefit from it. For my newcomers, subscribe. It's free, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you too can stay in the know. I'll be back on Sunday for my weekly video. Till then, you can keep up with me here on Twitter for crypto and NFT related news. Thank you for watching. Stay humble, hustle hard, and I'll see you in the next one.